Drive Time with Mary Wilson on RTE Radio 1.
Now, the government is to provide a state-guaranteed refund credit note for package holidays booked through Irish travel agents and tour operators in an effort to help the industry during this crisis. Travel journalist Eoghan Corry joins me. Tell us a bit more about this and how it's going to work, Eoghan.
A big issue. It's been raging through your airwaves, your studio, and all over the place since the outbreak of this crisis. What happens? People who have paid money for flights and for holidays and now want the money back. Under the law as it stood and as it still stands, EU 261 of the Package Holiday Directive, they're entitled to a refund. But the events had overtaken the law, and it was a situation where none of the businesses, be it the airlines or the travel agents, were in a position to refund cash without going out of business. This is an attempt to address the issue from the point of view of the travel agent and the tour operator, who were caught in the unholy mess because they had actually paid onto the airlines and the cruise lines and everybody else the money that the customers were looking for back in a refund and couldn't face the refund. It means that you will get a voucher, you will get a credit note, rather than is the phrase that's used in the legislation, and it will be valid for 6 months. And if you do not wish to use it, you're then entitled to your cash refund. So the cash refund hasn't gone away; it's just bought time for travel agents and tour operators.
Okay, but is this an Irish-only offer, or is this now going to be applicable in all EU countries? Seeing as the EU 261 regulation is an EU regulation.
Very good question, Mary, because the first thing the airlines did very early in this was go to the EU and say 261 cannot apply, we'll all go out of business. The EU held firm on that, the Commission held firm, the Parliament then began to make noises and the Member States began to make noises. 12 of them have now implemented legislation similar to the Irish one, either by parliamentary legislation or by directive. And the legal status of that, I understand, will be that they will apply retrospectively almost to the EU for permission to do this, because the scale of the shutdown of the travel industry, every travel agent and every tour operator across Europe was facing closure. It was an existential crisis which would have not left the consumer better off. About 12 of the states implemented different types of measures. Denmark had a state-backed one, and one of the clauses in what was agreed in Cabinet today is that should a tour operator or a travel agent go to the wall, it will be backed by the state. Your money is safe if you've bought a holiday. And the scale of the what would you call it, the anxiety, as a lot of household finances have changed dramatically over the last 8 weeks, has been enormous. But now people can rest assured, if they're not getting the money immediately within the legal period, that they will be getting it eventually, and it is guaranteed. And that's some reassurance. Some people will not be happy with that, but that's quite a good deal of reassurance. And the consumer rights were lobbying for a little bit more on it.
Yeah, I wonder, Eoghan, has the state done an assessment of how much it might cost them? Because they're on the hoof here if the company goes belly up.
The scale of what we're looking at on the airline side is enormous. Ryanair are looking at something like 700 million in refunds. Now, within the travel community in Ireland, it's a 1.4 billion industry between tour operators and travel agents. It would be a couple of 100 million, but it wouldn't be on that scale. But the bills that are being faced through travel and the big international corporations, as listeners will be familiar, have been running for state aid where they can. The airlines have been running for state aid, and people like Airbnb, Expedia are all facing collapse should they not get funding lines.
All right.
For the Irish travel trade,
I'm afraid,
it's a small family business.
I'm going to have to leave it there. Listen, thanks a million for joining us. We're out of time.